Hello everybody, my name's Liz and I'm the baker that sews. Welcome to my channel if you're new and welcome back if you are a subscriber. So today's video is going to be a video all about fabrics. So ages ago I asked what kind of videos people would like on my channel, and lots of people requested that I filmed a video about different types of fabric and what patterns sort of you can use them for. So I am not an expert by any means whatsoever. So my video is going to be me talking about what I have learned in the last sort of 3 years of dressmaking and my knowledge of matching fabrics that I've got to patterns. So the patterns that I talk about, it's not an exhaustive list of patterns that you can match to different fabrics, but they're just patterns that I feel I can talk about because I've used certain types of fabric with that pattern and I've worn them and they've worked really well. One thing to say before I get into the type of fabric, there's two things to say actually. I'm only going to focus on woven fabrics in this vlog. When I started writing a list of all the different fabrics that I could talk about, there's so many that I thought it'd be better to split it into woven and then I'll do stretch fabrics or jersey fabrics and in a separate video. Otherwise I think this video would be hours long. And then the second thing to say is, often on quite a lot of the online websites where you can purchase fabric, they have quite good detailed descriptions, one of the type of fabric and two of suggestions of different patterns that you can use. So always check that out when you're buying the fabric from a certain place. I know like So Amazing are brilliant at that. I know System and Taka are, Satisfaction, Sew Me Sunshine. There's a whole range of online fabric shops and they always have a little description of the fabric, and then quite often there's a suggestion of a pattern that it will match up to. And then the second tip when choosing fabric is, if you go on the Foldline website, they've got a search option not only for a pattern, but you can also search by type of fabric, which I found really useful as well. So if ever, you don't have to buy the pattern from them, but it just brings up a whole range of fabrics that you can use that match up to that type of fabric. So I'm going to be focusing on woven. I've got all of my notes here. Because I don't want to say anything wrong, I don't want to forget any important information. And then I've got some garments that I've made which I'll hold up. Now I don't have the pattern to hand for all of them because I think we'd be there forever, but what I am going to do is insert images of the patterns that I talk about. And if I have got them to hand, I can grab them. Last night I spent ages sorting out my pattern stash, so I know where different patterns are. I am going to be stopping and starting this video, but hopefully when I edit it, it will go together seamlessly. That's because I want to be able to stop, grab things from my wardrobe and then talk about them. I did start getting all the garments out that I want to talk about, but then I feared that my entire bedroom would be full of all of my clothes, so I'm going to do it section by section. So the woven fabrics that I feel confident talking about because I've used them, I'm going to list, and then I'm going to go back to each one, talk about pattern recommendations, show you some garments made up in that, and then I'll move on to the next one. Hopefully that makes sense, and hopefully that will give everybody the information that they would like from this video. I should have said what I'm wearing. I am wearing a hack of two patterns, and I'll put a picture in of me wearing this so you can see what it looks like. But this is the top half of the Tilly and the Buttons Alexa jumpsuit, and I've used the Wilder gown for the skirt because it's really lovely gathered voluminous skirt. Didn't put pockets in this one. And then I've added a tie belt just to bring it in. So it's the top half of the Alexa, and then I've just put the skirt on the bottom half, and it's using a fabric that I got from Material Girl Laura, and this is a cotton actually. It's a really lightweight cotton, and it's just beautiful to wear. It's really soft and really breathable. So I'm going to talk about cottons, so all the different types of cotton fabrics you can get, seersucker, double gauze, which is also sometimes called cotton gauze, stretch cotton, chambray, cotton canvas, linen, and then wool. And within that I'm going to talk about like cotton lawn, cotton voile, I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, V-O-I-L-E. I've said about double gauze, cotton twill because I've used that before. And corduroy. I'm going to include corduroy as well because I've used that quite a lot. So let's start at the beginning with the cotton, just a basic cotton fabric. I use cotton fabric quite a lot in my sewing. I like the way that it works. You can press it really easily, you get different weights, which is great. and it is a lot easier to handle, and also because it's a natural fibre, it's quite breathable, so I find wearing a cotton fabric I don't get too hot. If you've watched my Sew Hayley Jane unboxings, you'll know that a lot of her fabrics are cotton poplin, and there's one of those behind me at the moment. So as I've said, it's a natural fibre. So you can get a medium weight cotton, which is slightly heavier than a cotton lawn, and that's really good for dresses, shirts, tops, skirts. Fat quarters that come in the Sew Hayley Jane boxes tend to be a medium weight cotton too, and the cotton poplin is sort of a medium weight, and that works really well for dresses. So this cotton poplin is going to I just need to put the buttons on, the Megan Nielsen Matilda dress, which I'll go and grab the pattern. Okay, I'm back. I've got the pattern. Whilst I've got it to hand, I thought I might as well show you. So I am using a cotton poplin, which is a medium weight cotton, to make the Megan Nielsen Matilda dress, and it's a beautiful, beautiful dress. It's been absolutely fantastic to sew up. So it's a shirt dress, slightly relaxed fit, although it's got the waistband which sort of brings it in. It's got these lovely pleated pockets and the slanted pockets here on the hips. It's got a yoke and some really beautiful detailing where I've been able to do some top stitching, which I've found quite therapeutic. So that's a really great pattern for a medium weight cotton, and it comes together really nicely. And the other thing to say about medium weight cotton is it presses beautifully and it just sews really nicely. It's not a slippery fabric at all, so it's great for beginners. Then there's the Tilly and the Buttons Rosa shirt dress, which would be great for a medium weight cotton. So the fabric suggestions on this are medium and lightweight woven fabrics like cotton lawn, chambray, a lightweight denim, fine needle cord, double gauze, linen blends, viscose and shirting cotton. So shirting cotton is a medium weight cotton, so that one would be a really good one too. I've made quite a few things, like I said, in a medium weight cotton, so I'm just going to hold a few things up. So I know lots of you will know that I love the Dear and Doe Myosotis. That works beautifully in a medium weight or lightweight cotton. So this is a fabric I got from Crafty So and So, and it just sewed up so nicely. And the other thing about medium weight cotton is the buttonholes are quite nice to do, because the fabric doesn't move around. The buttonholes go in quite nicely, and the Myosotis has quite a few buttonholes, so that was quite nice. I'll put a picture of me wearing this, then you can see. The thing to say when sewing with a medium weight cotton is when you wear it, the fabric is slightly less drapey than you would get for like a viscose or a rayon or even a lightweight cotton. So I've made the Myosotis in a lightweight cotton, which I'll put pictures in, and it has got more movement, it's got slightly more swish to it because the cotton is a lot lighter, so you it is a bit floatier. But the Myosotis works really well for a medium weight cotton, as does the indigo. The Tilly and the Buttons indigo calls for a drapey fabric. So here it is with the extension pack. So it's got the longer skirt and the ruffle at the bottom. So fabric recommendations, I'm just looking at it, but I know that the fabric recommendations are light to medium weight wovens that have got drape. So a cotton lawn, chambray, viscose, double gauze, crepe de chine or georgette. But I think this works really nicely in a medium weight cotton, and I've made quite a few of them. It gives the pattern a different look. So I shared pictures yesterday of me wearing this gorgeous, what's it called? Gingham, that's the word I'm looking for. Yellow gingham. I got this from Stitchy Bee. I'll hold it up so you can see. So it's not as drapey. It's still got drape, but not as much movement. But again, the buttonholes are an absolute dream to sew on here, which is great. So I've got these lovely Win-One buttons. So yeah, it does give a different look. Again, I'll put pictures in of me wearing this so you can see what it looks like. And then later on I'll talk about an indigo that I made in a drapier fabric. But I do think the indigo works really well for a cotton, a medium weight cotton or a lightweight cotton. And then I've got three more patterns that I think a medium weight cotton works really well for. This one is the Nina Lee Carnaby dress, which I absolutely love. It's such a classic shape, quite straight up and down, and then it's got these gorgeous deep pockets, which I absolutely love. This comes up quite short on me, so it's quite high above the knee, but the Nina Lee Carnaby dress is perfect again for medium weight cottons. And again, I think that's a really good pattern for a beginner that wants to learn something, because there's quite a few skills to learn from that pattern. The way that the pockets are constructed is really interesting, and you insert a zip as well. Then another pattern I think works really well for a medium weight cotton is the Corduroy Crafts honeycomb dress, which has got loads of beautiful details on it. So it's got the button down placket on the front. I'm really sorry it's creased, it's been in my wardrobe. I only iron things when I go to wear them. It's got these lovely ties on the side, which is a beautiful detail which brings it in. Of course, it has got pockets, which is lovely. And then it's got this sort of mandarin collar detail, which when you're using a medium weight cotton, just goes in beautifully. So I would say that's the perfect pattern for a medium weight cotton. I've made a couple of versions of the honeycomb in a medium weight cotton, so I'll insert pictures of me wearing them so you can see what it looks like. The last pattern I wanted to talk to you about, which I think works really well in a medium weight cotton or a cotton poplin, or quilting cotton, is the I Am Joy top by I Am Patterns. So it's this top. It's got quite poofy sleeves, slash neck, and then quite a straight hem and quite a deep hem. And I've made a couple of versions of these, and this one is in a cotton from Satisfaction, which is lovely. And the reason I think it works really well in this is because it's got quite a lot of volume in the sleeve. It gathers with the elastic, so you don't want a really heavy cotton, but a medium weight or a cotton poplin would work perfectly, or a shirting cotton, I think it's called. Seersucker would work really nicely in this pattern too. It's really lovely, it feels really nice, it's nice and breathable as well, and that's a really nice top for the summer, paired with some shorts or a skirt, or tucked into a pair of culottes. So I've worn this with a pair of culottes before. And I've made it in a cotton voile, which is another type of cotton, which is a lightweight cotton fabric. This one is more sort of translucent, it's more see-through, like you can see the embroidered flowers from the back on the other side. So this one, if you were going to make something with a cotton voile, you would want to line it. But again, it's a lovely fabric to work with, and you can get some really beautiful ones that have got embroidery on. So that's all I've got to say really about cotton poplin, medium weight cotton, quilting cotton, and shirting cotton. And the reason why I think it's a really good fabric is it's a natural fibre, it's breathable, it's great for beginners, it's quite a stable fabric to work with. It does hold its shape, but then you can get some softer cottons which are a little bit drapier. So I would say have a look at the fabric recommendations on the back of a pattern. Look at what the suggestions are and think about what the finished garment will look like, and that will help you decide on whether the fabric you're choosing, like the cotton, will work really well with that pattern or not. The other pattern that I've used a lot of cotton fabric for is the Zadie jumpsuit, and I think that works beautifully with a cotton and a medium weight cotton as well. It just creates quite a structured look, but I think that looks absolutely perfect with a cotton fabric. And a cotton fabric is a great fabric to work with if you're a little bit nervous around using fabrics, or if you're like a beginner with sewing. I love it. I've got a lot of garments in my wardrobe that are made from a cotton fabric. So I'm going to move on to talk about a different type of cotton fabric now, which is a cotton lawn, which has a slight sort of silky feel to it. It's quite a nice fabric to sort of hold in your hands. And I've made a couple of things with a cotton lawn. One of them being the Tilly and the Buttons Alexa jumpsuit. And I've made it in this beautiful pink poppy cotton lawn. Silky texture because it's got a higher thread count. It can be transparent, so you just need to be careful with the cotton lawn that you are buying. Just check that whatever you are planning to make with it, it's not too transparent for your garment. So really good for dresses, really good for jumpsuits, great for trousers, skirts. I'd also say the new Jennifer Lauren handmade, is that how you say her name? Jennifer Lauren handmade, yes. The Bastien culottes I would say would work beautifully in a cotton lawn. Some cotton lawns, this one hasn't got much drape, but some cotton lawns do have a bit of drape. So I've got a Myosotis that I made in the Fashion Forward cotton lawn fabric. And this slightly drapier, still not hugely drapey, I don't know if that made any sense, but yeah, there's a little bit of drape going on. So this is the Deer and Doe Myosotis. This is the Deer and Doe Myosotis, so I'll put pictures in of me wearing this one just so you can see what it looks like on. But I really like the cotton lawn because it's got that silky texture, so it feels quite soft against your skin. So that's a really good fabric. Any of the patterns I've talked about already would be really good in a cotton lawn. So yeah, I've made a Myosotis in cotton lawn, but the Alexa jumpsuit is probably my favourite that I've made in the cotton lawn, and I really want to make some culottes using a cotton lawn because I think they'd feel really nice against your skin. So another pattern that I think works really well in a cotton or a cotton lawn is, it's from the Breaking the Pattern named book by Sarah and Laura Hooter. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but it's the Selena dress and jumpsuit and top. So it's this pattern here. It's got really beautiful tie detail. If I show you the line drawings, it's got this slit up the front, and then it's got this gorgeous tie detail here, and then you can do the tie detail on the sleeves if you want to with long sleeves. I've got a version where I did do that, but then this version I didn't. I opted for, I think they're 3/4 length sleeves, but it's got this beautiful tie detail at the front. And the cotton lawn for that pattern gives it quite structured look, which I quite like. The skirt is a little bit drapey, but not hugely drapey, and it was beautiful to sew up. It was really lovely, and I just love that detail at the front as well. So yeah, that pattern would work really well in a cotton lawn. This dress, which you can't see, is the Selkie Rossetti dress. That would work really nicely in a cotton lawn as well, actually, and I'll put pictures in of what that looks like. The closet case pattern Charlie Caftan would be good in a cotton lawn, and you can do 2 different lengths for this one. And I'm going to talk about that pattern a bit later because there's another fabric that would work really well for that Callie shirt dress, because that's another one that would work really nicely in a medium weight, lightweight cotton and a cotton lawn. And again, you get different lengths of that one, so you can do a really cropped one, slightly cropped, and then slightly longer. And actually, I haven't made this up yet. You can see the pattern is still closed. I need to get that made up. I've seen so many beautiful versions of the Callie shirt dress. So yeah, fabric recommendations for that: light to medium weight wovens and shirtings like poplin, it's quite hard to say, poplin, chambray, tencel, linen, rayon, crepe de chine, voile and flannel. So that's a good one for any of the cottons that I've talked about so far. So then the next fabric that I wanted to talk to you about was a seersucker. So I've only made one thing with a seersucker, and that is the Made by Jack's Mum Heyday dungarees. And I like a seersucker because it holds its shape, it's breathable because it's cotton, and it is quite a soft fabric to work with. So the seersucker has, I don't know if you can see, slight crinkled texture. You're probably not going to be able to see it because it's really stripy, but it's got a sort of a texture to it. Seersucker's really good for shirts, great to work with, presses really nicely. This pattern, Made by Jack's Mum Heyday dungarees, has got a lot of top stitching, especially around where you attach the straps. It's got loads of top stitching, but the seersucker, because it's quite a stable fabric, was an absolute dream to do top stitching. Yeah, and the pockets have got a lot of top stitching too. It's the worst fabric to show up, this one, because it's got tiny weeny little stripes, so it's not going to show up properly. But the seersucker, I thought I'd include that because it's quite a lightweight cotton. Again, it's breathable, great to work with, brilliant for a beginner, and yeah, really nice for something like dungarees, great for shirts. So the Callie shirt dress would be great, the Matilda shirt dress would be great in a seersucker, the Rosa shirt dress would be great in a seersucker too. And actually I think the I Am Joy top would be great in a seersucker as well. Okay, the next fabric I want to talk to you about is a double gauze, which I've got here. I love a double gauze. It's a lovely lightweight fabric. It's very breathable because it's made from cotton. And when you're looking this fabric up, it can either be called a cotton gauze or a double gauze. And it's got this lovely sort of texture to it, almost like crinkled, which is great because it doesn't crinkle too much because it's already got that sort of texture to it. I'm going to hold it up and sort of show you how the fabric moves when you pull it, because it has got, I don't know if you can say it's got a slight stretch, but it's a very bouncy fabric. So can you see when I'm pulling that? I can pull it. There's a little bit of movement in the fabric both ways. So for that reason, you don't want to use it for anything that's quite fitted and quite structured, because you'll find that it stretches out. So it's really good for loose fitted, unstructured garments. And I've used it to make the Kokoama Crafts plum dress, which is this lovely, really loose fitting dress. It's got the button down the back. You can add on the long sleeves, or you can just add the ruffle, and then it's got this lovely gathered skirt and pocket. So it's great for that. It's a nice breezy dress. The other dress or top it's really good for is the Tilly and the Buttons Stevie. So you can make it in a dress version, or you can make it in a top version. Yeah, I haven't got pictures of the top version, but I'll put pictures in from Tilly's website. But you could use it to make the Tilly and the Buttons Stevie. That's a really good pattern for a double gauze. The Ogden would be great in a double gauze because it'd be nice and breathable. Again, the Cali shirt dress. I can't talk from experience because I haven't actually made this pattern up yet, but this would be really good for the shirt dress. And so would for the shirt dress. I meant this would be really good for a double gauze. And the Cali, not the Cali, I just talked about the Cali. Oh my goodness, I've been talking for too long. It would also be good for the Charlie caftan. That would make, I think the short version would be better than the long version. Although the long version has got slits, side slits, which would make it really movable, easy to move about in. So I really love a double gauze. I think it's a really nice fabric to work with. And like I said, because it's cotton, it's very breathable. So the next fabric I wanted to talk to you about is a stretch cotton. So I've made two things out of a stretch cotton. Both of them are quite figure hugging. So a stretch cotton works really well for something that's got structure or a garment that needs to fit you really well. So I've made it to make a pinafore dress, and I've also used it to make some dungarees, and I've got a couple of pattern recommendations to go with the stretch cotton. So the first one, I don't have the pattern in front of me because it's a PDF. I bought the PDF version and I just bring the instructions up on my laptop, but I will insert pictures of what it looks like on me and also the line drawings because I know that's really helpful to see. So the first pattern is the Nina Lee Camden pinafore dress, which is quite a structured dress. It comes in at the waist, it's got these lovely deep pockets, and then it sits at the knee, I think, from memory. And the reason a stretch cotton works really well in this is because it's got a little bit of stretch, as the name suggests. So if I show you, it's got a little bit of stretch going sideways and then not so much going the other way. But it just means with something that's fitted, you've still got that little bit of wiggle room that you need in a garment to make it feel really comfortable. So with a pinafore dress, you do want to still be able to move around in it. You don't want to feel like you're really squished into the garment. So that's a great benefit of a stretch cotton. And then the other pattern that I've used, oh, it's just here, is the Mila dungarees by Tilly and the Buttons. I've only made one pair of these. I don't know why. I need to revisit it. So they're a very slim fitting dungaree. So you can see the trousers are quite slim fitting. And then they've got the bib section at the front. And again, the dungarees, they work really well in a stretch cotton. I made it in this really loud floral stretch cotton. And again, it has got that stretch when you pull it. It's got that give. And stretch cotton's great for this pattern because it's quite figure hugging at the waist. The legs are quite slim fitting, so the stretch in the cotton allows you again to have that wiggle room, so it makes it really comfortable. So they're two patterns that I have made in a stretch cotton, and they do need a fabric that's got quite a bit of structure to them in order for the pattern to look great. But then I've got a couple of other patterns that I've got. So another pattern I've got is the Elsie dress by Sew Over It, and the reason you want quite a structured fabric for this dress is because it's got pleats. If I show you the line drawings, it's got this pleat detail in the skirt here, and then when you've got the dress, it's got the pleat detail too. So you want quite a structured fabric because it's going to then hold these pleats, and that's a really nice feature of the pattern. And it does recommend medium to heavyweight fabrics, and the stretch cotton is again just going to give you that little bit of wiggle room. And then the other pattern I've got to recommend is the Tilly and the Buttons Ariel skirt. Again, it's a pencil skirt, so it is quite figure hugging. It comes in at the waist, and then it's got this button detail down the front, but it's off to the side. So you can use snaps or you can use buttons. And again, if you use a stretch cotton, it's going to give you that little bit of room to move, especially with it being a pencil skirt. If you make that long skirt, you do want to feel comfortable wearing that. You want to be able to sit down. So that is sort of my recommendations on a stretch cotton. It's still a really nice fabric to use. It's still quite stable. It still presses really nicely. So if you're looking to up your skills and try maybe a slightly more complicated pattern, a stretch cotton I would highly recommend if you're moving on from beginner patterns. Okay, so the next fabric I wanted to talk to you about is a particular favourite of mine, and it's a chambray. So chambray tends to come in a blue colourway. It tends to look a little bit like denim, but it's a lightweight fabric. It's usually 100% cotton, which makes it breathable and really lovely against your skin. So I've used the chambray for a couple of different garments, which I'm going to share with you, but I know it can be used for so many different things. And like I said, it's quite a lightweight fabric. Not a huge amount of drape to it, but it's lovely and lightweight. So it's also, chambray is also made up of two different threads. Usually one of them is white, which is why you get this sort of white-ish look with it. I don't know if you can see that texture. It has quite a unique texture to it. And that's because of the two different threads that are used to make the fabric. So it's usually a white thread and then obviously the blue thread. So recommendations: the Stevie dress, which I've talked about already, the Tilly in the Button Stevie dress. This is a great pattern for the summer. It's a great pattern for keeping you nice and cool because you can use a cotton fabric, as I've already said a lot in this video, and it works brilliantly in a chambray. So I have got a chambray Tilly in the Buttons Stevie made up. It's creased again, I'm really sorry, in this lovely fabric which has got the Eiffel Tower on, and it's got lots of lovely love hearts and the Breton tops. I just love this. And then it's got the tie detail at the back. So this was a beautiful sew because of the chambray fabric, and it pressed beautifully as well. It sewed up really nicely. So that's one really good pattern for a chambray. The Selena dress, which I've already talked about from Breaking the Pattern book, is great for a chambray too. Again, it's quite, I mean, dependent on the fabric that you use, you get a different look. So I have used a georgette fabric to make the Selena, and it's really drapey. But for the chambray version, which I'll hold up in a second, you really see the bow detail and the slit detail. It holds the shape beautifully, and I'll put pictures in of me wearing it too. But here's my chambray version. So it's got the bow detail here. For this one I did the long sleeves with the bow detail. There we go. And then it's got the slit at the front. And it's a really beautiful dress to wear. I feel really elegant in it, but it's also really breathable. It feels lovely on my skin. And then the last pattern that I've used for a chambray is probably my favourite, and it's the new pattern by Jennifer Lauren Handmade, which I've already talked about, and it is the Bastien culottes, and I've made it in this beautiful chambray which I got from Material Girl Laura. Just love how wide-legged this pattern is, and they've got beautiful pocket detail as well, where you've got the button fastening. It's such a pretty detail. I just love that pattern, and a chambray works nicely because it's got a little bit of drape, but it holds the structure of the pattern, which I think you need with the culotte pattern. So I love a chambray. Again, it's great for beginners because it's quite an easy fabric to work with. Presses really nicely, sews really nicely. Buttonholes were a dream. It was easy to insert the zip for the Selena dress with it too because it's not a slippy fabric. So I would recommend a chambray. Okay, well done if you are still with me. I think we're about half an hour into this video now. A couple more fabrics that I'd like to talk about. And the next one is a linen fabric, which I have used quite a few times. So linen is made from the flax plant, and it's one of the world's oldest textiles. It's really breathable. It's a great fabric to use for summer garments. Really durable, sews up really nicely, presses beautifully, but you can also get linens that have got a nice drape to them. I do find that linen creases, so that's the only downside to linen. So I've got some trousers that I've made linen in, I've got some dungarees that I've made from linen, and I do find that although it's breathable, it feels really nice against my skin, keeps me nice and cool, it also washes really nicely, so it's really durable. I do find it creases, so when I'm ironing my garments made from linen, I have to really press them and use quite a lot of steam when I'm ironing them. So that's the only downside that personally I have found with the linen fabric, is it creases quite a lot. So if you don't enjoy ironing, you might want to steer away from linen. But it is a lovely fabric to work with, and it feels really nice on your skin. So there are lots of upsides to using a linen. So it's a really versatile fabric, so you can use it for lots of different things. You know, it works for shirts, it works for trousers, it works for dungarees, it works for dresses. There are so many garments that you can sew in linen, and you'll get a different look each time. So there's a couple of things I'm going to talk about what I've used linen fabric for. So the first pattern that I have used linen for is the Megan Nielsen Flint trousers. So they're really nice, they're fitted at the waist, or you can make shorts as well, and they're really wide legged. I really love them. So this is the version here, and this is the version that I've made. And I've made them in a linen that I got from a So Hayley Jane box, but I know that DIY or Dye Leeds had some of this fabric in. I'll link them down below. But yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, you can see where it's creased, but it is quite drapey. It's a lovely fabric to work with, and it's sewed up beautifully, and it's really, really comfortable to wear. So I do love sewing with linen. It's just, it creases awfully. So really good for trousers. Really versatile, I've already said that. And the next pattern that I would suggest you can use linen for is from the Tilly and the Buttons Make It Simple book, and it's this pattern here, which is the Sophia dungarees, or the Sophia trousers actually, which is here. So the Sophia dungarees I've sewn up in a linen. Let's see if I can find the pattern, and actually the model in it and the ones that Tilly's wearing on the front, I think they're made in a viscose linen, and a viscose linen has got a really nice drape to it, which is what I've used. So this is an apple green viscose linen which has got a slight drape to it, and I got this from Simi Sunshine. So it is slightly drapier because of the viscose content, whereas these are just a linen with no viscose in. And although they're still drapey, but not as drapey. So as you could see with this pair, you can see the creasing in it. I think you can see that, which is the only downside to using linen. So I've made a couple of things with linen, as I was saying, and it is a really nice fabric because it's breathable again, and it feels comfortable against the skin, and it's natural fibre, which is great. So I would recommend it. And again, it's really good for beginners because it's quite a stable fabric. Okay, the next fabric I'm going to talk to you about is a fabric that was fairly new to me up until a couple of months ago, and it's a cotton canvas. So Ruby Star Society fabrics, I'm sure you all know and have heard of, bring out beautiful fabrics. I love the designs of them. They're absolutely gorgeous, and they're always quite unique prints, I guess. Always quite bold, which I absolutely love, and always lots and lots of colours in them. So there was a fabric in particular that Sister Mintaka was stocking, but it only came in a cotton canvas, and I hadn't sewn in a cotton canvas before. I hadn't really held a cotton canvas either. And then in the description box for cotton canvas, it said that it was really for bags mainly, but I think it might have said in the description dungarees too. But anyway, I thought, well, I'm going to buy it and see what it looks like. And it is this fabric, which has got a turquoise background, and then I think these might be peaches. They look like peaches. They remind me of those sweets that you get, which are called peach sweets, I think. But anyway, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll put a picture in so you can see what they look like. So I ordered a couple of meters of this fabric anyway, and I was pleasantly surprised when it arrived. So it is thicker than a normal cotton. It's got sort of a texture to it. It does feel quite thick. I'm trying to think, what is it sort of, what can I liken it to? A little bit like a denim, I guess. A little bit like a denim, but it's got no stretch whatsoever. And I think personally it's perfect for a pair of dungarees. So I've made the Heyday, made by Jack's mum, Heyday dungarees, again with lots of top stitching detailing, which I really like. So loose fit dungaree with lots and lots of pocket options, which is great. And I think the cotton canvas works really nicely for a dungaree. It's a really stable fabric to sew up. It feels really nice on your skin because it's cotton, it's breathable as well. Yeah, and it works really nicely for a dungaree pattern. So I thought I'd include that. That is the only pattern that I've used a cotton canvas for, and it is typically used for bags, but it works brilliantly for dungarees. I'm going to hold it up just so you can see. There's not much drape to it. It's quite structured, but not as structured as a denim would be. Yeah, it's quite a thick fabric. But yeah, I'm really pleased with the cotton canvas. So I would say if you have found a fabric that you really like online that is a cotton canvas, don't be scared. I think it works really nicely for something like a dungaree. I think maybe like the Tilly and the Buttons nest skirt would work really nicely in this too. And even maybe a pinafore dress would work really nicely in this cotton canvas too. Which leads me on nicely actually to the next type of fabric I wanted to talk about, which is a corduroy. So I love using corduroy, and I've got quite a lot of garments in my wardrobe that I've used to make it. The first one being the olive pinafore from the Tilly and the Buttons Make It Simple book. So a corduroy is quite thick. Quite often it will have a slight amount of stretch, although this one hasn't got any stretch to it whatsoever. It has got a nap to it. So if you don't know what a nap means, it's not a nap where you go to sleep. Terrible joke, I know, but it's the direction in which the fabric goes. So the nap on the corduroy should go from top to bottom. So when you move your hand from top to bottom, it feels smooth. When you go the other way, it's quite rough. And I don't know if you can tell that I've gone up. It gives sort of a texture, I guess, when you go the wrong side of the nap. You can see all the corduroy details sticking up. So you want, when you're sewing it, to make sure the nap's going from the top to the bottom. And that just makes it not look patchy in any sort of spots. So if I have got the nap going the wrong way in any of it, it changes the colour slightly of the fabric. Get corduroy in different weights, and you can also get it in different, the ridges come in different sizes too. So this is a chunky corduroy. As you can see, the ridges are quite obvious on the fabric, but then you can also get a fine needle cord, which is a type of corduroy, which again I've made another olive dress out of, and it's this version. So this is really lightweight. This one has got a bit of stretch to it, so you can see when I pull that, it's got a tiny bit of stretch to it. And again, it has got the nap. I hope I'm saying it correctly. I hope that's what it's called, where the fabric, when you brush it to make it smooth, it needs to go from top to bottom. When you brush it the other way, it's quite rough to touch. So I love corduroy. It works really well for dungarees. It works really well for jackets. So I've made a blazer out of corduroy. Works really well for pinafore dresses. I'm trying to think what else I've used corduroy. It works really well for like the bobby pinafore as well from Tilly and the Buttons. It is quite a structured fabric, so when you're thinking about what you're going to use it for, you want to look for garments that need a bit of structure. Really good for trousers. So the Jesser trousers, the Tilly and the Button Jesser trousers, dungarees would work well in a cord. The Rosa, I've seen some beautiful Rosa shirt dresses made out of corduroy. Actually that Ariel skirt would work really well in a corduroy. The Jenna overalls by Closet Case. They're not called Closet Case anymore, actually. They're called Closet Core patterns. I've made a pair of dungarees out of corduroy, and they're beautiful. They're one of my favourite things to wear, actually. They're really comfortable. I don't know what I've done with the Jesser trouser pattern. I'm just covered in and surrounded by clothes just everywhere. The Jesser trousers will work really well in a corduroy as well. So again, I would really highly recommend corduroy, and actually even as a beginner, because it's quite a structured fabric, as long as you take your time and you're really patient using it, I think it would be a good fabric for you to use as well. The thing to say with all of these fabrics, I haven't talked about this, but you do need a different type of needle for all the different fabrics. And if I've got space down below, I'll put some suggestions of what needle you need for all the different fabrics that I've talked about. But for a corduroy fabric, you want quite a strong needle, because if you tried to use a fine needle, it would break a lot. Trust me, I've made that mistake before when I've thought I've changed my needle and I haven't, and then I've snapped a needle, and it's really frustrating when you're in the middle of sewing something. I was going to talk about rayons and crepes and viscose fabrics, but I know this video is about 40 minutes long now, so I'm going to stop there. But I am going to film another video where I'll talk about viscose and rayons, any other fabrics that I've missed off, And then I'm also going to film a separate video where I talk about stretch fabrics, like jersey fabrics, and in that I'll cover some scuba, and I will also cover Ponte Roma because I've sewn with those fabrics too, and all the different types of jerseys. And I'll also talk about peach skin because I've used a peach skin fabric quite a lot. If there's a fabric that I haven't covered and you want some more information on that, let me know down below because I will include it in my next video where I talk about different fabrics. If you would like any more information on any of that, or if you think there's any important things that I've missed out, do let me know in the comments below and I'll make sure I include it in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found that useful. Before I go, I thought I'd talk about what I am currently sewing up. So I'm sure I'm not the only one, but I've been making face coverings. So that's what I've been working on. My girls asked for a fun one, so I've used ice cream fat quarters from the So Hailey Jane boxes. And then for my husband and I've used this sort of, it reminds me of tiles, Mediterranean tiles actually, again from a fat quarter from So Hailey Jane. And I used the tutorial that Marie from Stitch Odyssey put up on her Instagram TV to do the 3D face mask. And honestly, it's the most comfortable face mask ever. Everybody's been making them and they really are comfortable. One thing I did want to say actually though, I have found that, because I wear glasses, my husband wears glasses, and both my girls wear glasses actually, I do get the glasses fog when I'm wearing my face covering out and about. So I bought some of these, and you can see, metal, they're meant for masks actually. They're sort of pliable metal, and what I've been doing, because I know lots of people have been doing the 3D face coverings and they've found that that stopped the glasses fog. I'm still getting a bit of glasses fog, whether I'm wearing them incorrectly or not, I don't know. I do make sure it's over like my nose and my chin, and I've got the elastic to make sure it's really tight. But what I've been doing is, before I sew this part of the face covering, I've been inserting one of these into the top part of the mask, and then I don't know if you can see, just stitching around it to enclose it in that part. So when I do wear the mask, I can mould it against my nose and it keeps the shape, and that stops me from getting the glasses fog. I just got these on Amazon. This is not, you know, I'm not being paid by Amazon to talk about these. I think you can get them from other places too, because I know lots of people don't like shopping with Amazon, but I just thought I'd share that because it's been quite a nifty little trick. And you got, I think you got like 100 in a pack, so I've got loads because I've got to make them for my family too. So I just thought I'd share that. And then the other things that I'm working on, which I'm really enjoying, is I'm making the Sorrento jacket from Sew Over It's new ebook, which is the Summer Dreaming. So this is black and white pictures. It's a gorgeous denim jacket, which I think sits at your natural waist. And I'm using this beautiful denim that I got from Fabric Godmother in this duck egg blue. It's probably not going to come up properly, but it's a beautiful colour. I'm just really enjoying the top stitching, so I can't wait to get that finished. There's a lot of pieces, but I'm really enjoying the process. And then I've also been working on my Sew Over It Mia jeans, and again I'm using a pink denim which I got from Like So Amazing, and again so much top stitching, but I'm really enjoying the process of top stitching. So they'll be coming soon. I'm hoping to get a bit of time this evening to do some sewing. Hope you're all keeping well. Let me know in the box down below what you're working on, and I will be back soon with another video. Take care and enjoy whatever you're up to. Bye.